This isn't just about emotions. It's about being able to lead a life that feels clear, steady, and authentic. This is about building strength where it matters most, not on the outside, but in the core of you that actually guides decisions, connection, and peace. For anyone who's worked hard, made progress, but still feels something important's missing, this is where the next chapter begins. Thank you to everyone who shared your thoughts after the last video. Your messages were genuine, and some were tough to read, but all of them were honest. In the first video, I broke down why most notions of strength are really just about control, driven by fear. And in the second video, I showed how staying open is the first real step to power, not emotional chaos, but grounded presence. Who am I to be telling you this? Well, for almost 20 years, I've helped over 200,000 people from 87 countries build success that actually feels meaningful. I'm a Brown University certified leadership coach and a certified IFS therapy practitioner. And I've spent 2 decades helping high performers stop chasing strength and start living it from within. One client I worked with, let's call him Alex, he was the kind of person others looked up to. High performer, always composed, always on. He'd built a strong career. He kept a sharp mind and a fit body, and maintained discipline that most couldn't match. But when it came to the moments that really mattered, he checked out. Not because he didn't care, but because he didn't know how to stay with them. During conflict, he'd shut down. When things felt too good, he'd pull away. And underneath the calm, he carried fear and sadness and a shame he never named. He thought he was being strong, but that strength came from distance, not depth. When we started working together, he realized he'd never learned how to stay open through tough emotions. He had the intelligence, the drive, the self-control, but he didn't yet have integration. And that's what we're covering in this video. Not just staying open for a moment, but building the structure that makes openness sustainable and natural. Because emotional strength isn't a single act, it's a system, and it can be built. At this point, a common question that comes up is, what if this just opens up emotions that don't go away? It's a fair question, but the truth is, those emotions are already there. They're not waiting to be opened, they're just waiting to be met. Not to flood your inner system, but for you to feel them in a way that builds strength in you. That's the point of the structure we're building, not just to access emotion, but to stay grounded while doing it. Here's another common question. What if this pulls my focus away from my work? Most people are already losing focus, replaying fights, avoiding connection, numbing out between sprints. The cost isn't in taking time to train this. The cost is in never learning how. Building emotional strength doesn't distract from work. It helps everything work better. Here's another common question. What if this doesn't work? That depends on one thing. Not effort, not motivation, but your willingness. Willingness to stay open, follow through, and try a different way. That's all this asks. That's where it starts. So far, we've looked at 2 parts of strength most people never get taught. First, the ability to stay grounded under pressure. Second, the power of staying open, especially when it's hard. Now we're going to step back and lay out the full method. This is the full process I teach. It's what helps you grow, not just emotionally, but from the inside out. And yes, it spells something simple. G.R.O.W. G.R.O.W. Ground, radar, openness, wholeness. G.R.O.W. Grow. Grounding is where it starts. To ground means to anchor into your body, into this moment. Not to drift off into your head, to your thoughts. Not to brace against what's coming, but to settle. To feel steady, even if emotions rise. To stay instead of flinch or flee. From there comes radar. This is your internal scanner. It tells you what part of you is really speaking right now. Is it fear, shame, anger, or something deeper trying to get through? Most people react without knowing what's driving them. Radar gives you the awareness to stop that pattern in its tracks. Ground and radar work together. Sometimes you need to anchor before you scan, other times you need to notice before you can ground. That's why this isn't a straight line. It's a cycle, a loop that you'll return to over and over, but at a higher level each time. Then there's O for openness. This is the hardest step for most. Opening to your emotion in real time takes practice. It's not about breaking down. It's about staying open even as fear, sadness, or anger show up. Not pushing it away, not collapsing under it, just staying. That's the kind of strength most people never train for, but it's the most useful kind. Because when you can stay open to anything inside you, you can stay open to anything outside you. This is where trust builds. This is where intimacy grows. This is where leadership gets real. And finally, wholeness. This is where everything integrates. The parts of you that were at odds, the voices that always pulled in different directions, this is where they meet. Where they find roles that feel better and more natural. Where the inner conflict begins to dissolve. This draws on IFS therapy, Jungian psychology, and other evidence-based methods. But at its core, it's simple. When you stop fighting yourself, everything gets calmer, clearer, more aligned. And that's what emotional strength really is. Not just feeling happy, not just looking in control, but walking into any situation knowing fully who you are and not needing to hide any of it from yourself. To grow into strength, you have to ground, radar, open, and become whole. And when those four pieces come together, life starts to feel very different. Not because life is easier, but because you are stronger in the right way. Now, let's talk about what makes this possible. Not in theory, but in your actual life. When you build this kind of emotional strength, things begin to click into place. No need to constantly monitor the mask. No panic when emotion rises. No second guessing every moment of silence. You know how to handle it because you've trained for it. You don't flinch when someone else opens up. You know how to stay in the moment even when it's messy. You stop needing to fix or flee. You hold steady. That opens doors in every part of life. Authentic intimacy becomes possible, not just with others, but with yourself. You stop repeating the same toxic patterns in relationships. You stop numbing out every time something feels off. You stop overthinking the next move. You become someone others feel safe around, respected by, drawn to. Not because of what you say, but because of who you've become. Even work becomes different. Clarity gets sharper. Meetings feel cleaner. Pressure doesn't rattle you the way it used to. You carry yourself differently. Less performance, more presence. That's what changes when you grow. This isn't about chasing some new version of you. It's about becoming more fully the person you've already been underneath all the armor you've forgotten you've been wearing. The one who doesn't need to prove anything, because he finally knows where his true strength comes from. If what I've shared so far hits home, if something in you has been nodding along, feeling the truth of it, then the next video is one you won't want to miss. That's where I'll show you exactly how to take the next step. Not just more theory, not just more concepts to collect, but an actual process for developing the strength and training these capacities in yourself. The same path I've been developing for almost 20 years. Refined, focused, and built for achievers who don't have time to waste. If you're ready to go deeper, to start living this out for real, then make sure to watch what's coming next. It could be the beginning of something you've been searching for, quietly, for a long time. So now you know the full method. G.R.O.W, grow. Ground, radar, openness, wholeness. This is the emotional framework I've spent years refining, with clients, in seminar rooms, across coaching calls, and in my own life. It's been the difference between living on edge and living in alignment, between chasing validation and walking with calm. And now I want to help you put it into practice. In the next video, I'm going to lay out something I've never released like this before. It's built to take this from insight to training, not just talk, but action. Real change you can feel in your body, not just your head. This is for people who are ready. Not perfect, not already strong, just ready. This offer won't be for everyone. It's going to be open for less than a week. It's not mass market. It's not DIY. It's built for depth. So if this has been speaking to you, if some part of you knows it's time for the next step, make sure to keep an eye out. This next email really matters. And before then, I'd love to hear from you. What part of the GROW process do you most want to develop? Drop a comment and let me know. Your answer might help someone else see themselves more clearly too. I can't wait to share more with you in the final video of this series. Until then, Tian signing out.